I want to share with you why I don't trust anyone and why I don't think it is the best idea for you to trust anyone either. My name is Jessica Frew, and I am a decision-making coach for women. I am also an author and a speaker, and I help women navigate big decisions in their life, usually when they're navigating divorce or something in their career or their business. And I help you work through that so that you actually get to come out on the other side feeling so good, and you have the confidence to take action towards a life that works best for you. And today I want to talk about why I don't trust people and why that might not be the best thing for you either. We talk about after betrayal, trusting people and how we trust our partners again, or how we welcome in a new partner to trust. And this happens in business and in our careers as well. And I want to tell you why you don't need to trust anyone. Now, I want to give you a little bit of my backstory here so that you kind of know where I'm coming from and that I have a little bit of experience with this. I was raised in a very conservative Christian religion. I grew up checking all of the boxes. I was very straight edge. I conformed to many of the things while very much keeping my own personality and who I was. I dressed uniquely. I always had crazy hair. I wanted to be me still. And as I followed this path, though, I did the things. I didn't date until I was 16. I never did drugs and alcohol in high school. I didn't have sex with boys before marriage. I was so straight edge. And when I mean didn't have sex with boys before marriage, I also wasn't dry humping or any of these things that we get away with. I was very straight edge because I wanted what was promised me on the other side. I wanted the husband where we are going to have this idyllic marriage. I wanted the kids. I wanted all of the things. I wanted the happiness, joy, peace. And I wanted to be viewed as or accepted as a good, worthy individual. I was the good girl. And so as I did this, I welcomed in this amazing man who I loved. And we met in February and we were married by December. And he checked all the boxes as well. He had done the things. And then fast forward 6 months into our marriage, I find on this computer all of this gay porn. And now I figured, some straight guys look at gay porn, but I knew in my heart at that point that my husband was probably gay. And he could not express those words at that point. He was still very much in denial because being raised in the conservative Christian religion, it was not okay to be gay. That wasn't an option. And so then fast forward another couple of years, he comes to terms with the fact he's gay. We stay married. We have a kid. Blah, 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 all the things. We end up being married for 7 years. Just before our 7-year wedding anniversary, he had an affair with a man. We tried to work through all of that and navigate that together. And then we were just this isn't working. We need to go be true to who we are. We need to welcome in relationships that feel good for us. But I experienced all of that betrayal of, first of all, him with the porn. Secondly, him dealing with, him coming out as gay. And while I understand that people get really upset when I call that betrayal, he was betraying himself and who he was presenting himself to be. And he owns this as well, that is a form of betrayal. And then also he had an affair with a man and all of these things. Then I get married a year and a half after my divorce, and I marry an amazing man again. And instantly he is shutting me out. And he is very much trying to create this rift between us because he was later admitted he was so afraid about our relationship failing. And so I went into self-betrayal mode of I am going to show up perfectly for everybody else. I'm going to do all the things. I'm going to be the perfect wife. I'm going to be the perfect ex-wife. I'm going to be the perfect co-parent, stepmom, all of the things so that I am loved and accepted. And in this process, very much betrayed myself and gave into this self-betrayal and left behind who I was to embrace this new life. And a year into our marriage, I was I am done. What am I doing? I can't do this. I am almost completely lost in who I am. And that's the scariest thing to me. And so at that point, I decided, you know what? This is the time that I need to be done with this relationship and connect back to me. And I left and I got a job and I found a place for my daughter and I to live. And I did all of the things. And I was this just doesn't feel right. I'm going to go back to this relationship, to this marriage, because I really believe in it. And I feel like I married a good man. And I feel like we just got to connect some dots. And I came back to that marriage and I showed up for me first. I left the self-betrayal behind. I left all those things behind and I showed up for me. Now, people always ask me, and fast forward now, we have been married 12 and a half years, and we have created this really great life. And me coming back to myself helped heal my relationship. It helped provide a safe space for me to be seen in the relationship and for my husband to be seen in the relationship. And then for our kids to feel safe in our home and to be themselves. So it was this amazing like trickle-down effect, and it is beautiful, and I cannot recommend it enough. But in all of this betrayal of being able to trust a partner again, being able to trust myself again, being able to trust, guys I dated and all of this stuff, people always ask me how I did that. How do you trust your new partner after going through so much betrayal? And I glossed over all of this. There was a lot of betrayal in my first marriage along the way. But they were like mini betrayals until the affair, which felt like the biggest one and all of that. But the thing that I come back to is I don't have to trust my partner. I don't have to trust my husband, Matt. Like, that's not something I have to trust. I don't have to trust him. I do trust him. But the only reason I trust him is because I trust myself. All of those moments in my first marriage when I felt like, something's off here. Like something doesn't feel right. I knew that in myself. And instead of just like waiting for the proof of that to happen, I really tried to trust in myself. I really tried to lean into that and understand that even though when my husband would tell me everything's fine, nothing's wrong, I knew there was. He just wasn't ready to share that with me. And Steve, my ex-husband, was really good about sharing those things with me, but it needed to be on his timeline. He needed to feel safe enough to say those things. Whereas a lot of us have been through these relationships where there is betrayal and we are told, oh, it's not that big of a deal, nothing's going on, you're crazy, you're too emotional, you're all of these things. But really, that is you telling you that you are right, that you know something is off. And whether you are right about what it is that's off, it doesn't matter. I have women come to me all the time, they're like, I think my husband might be gay, we're experiencing this, I'm having a really hard time connecting to him. And I've done all this work on myself, I still can't connect to him. And I'm like, it doesn't matter what is going on with him. If you feel this deep disconnect, and maybe he is gay, maybe he's not, it doesn't matter what it is. You don't have to wait for the proof of what that is to trust yourself and know that this isn't happening. This isn't working. I'm not having the relationship I want because the connection isn't there, because I don't fully trust him. And so again, it doesn't matter what it is. It just matters that you know something is off, that you know there's like, and maybe he's a really good guy, but there's just this disconnect that's like not working for you. That's all you need to know. That is enough information. That is where your trust needs to lie, is in you and feeling that. Matt will go on like business trips where he'll be gone for 3 or 4 days at a time. And people are like, how do you handle that after what you went through? Because I was out of town when Steve had the affair. He was out of town when he did all of these other like tiptoeing into an affair, like things that were outside of the boundaries of our relationship, but weren't for a full-blown affair. So there's all these things like, that's a huge trigger for so many women, is when our partners leave town, when our spouses are out of town. And here's the deal, is I don't have to trust Matt when he leaves town. That isn't what I'm looking for, is to trust him. I am looking to see how I feel while he is out of town. Do I feel like do I think about or ruminate on the fact that maybe he's doing something he shouldn't be? Is there actual something there that's like, is this my intuition, or is this my old triggers coming up, like my old fears, my old whatever? And do I need to deal with those? But ultimately, when you create deep trust with yourself, you don't ruminate like that anymore. You're not constantly in this flow of, oh my gosh, I think he's cheating on me, unless your intuition knows he is cheating on you, or something out is happening when he leaves town that isn't okay. I always tell women, I don't trust Matt, I trust me. And because I trust me, I therefore do trust Matt, because what I feel in myself feels safe and healthy in my relationship with Matt. But if that ever hit a point where I was like, no way, like something feels off, and Matt's continually telling me, oh, it's fine, it's not that, nothing's going on, it's not that big of a deal, I would be out of there so fast, because I trust me more than I trust somebody else outside of me. And this is really hard for us as women, because we have been conditioned to believe that what is in us isn't right. what is in us can't be trusted. We can't trust our feelings. They're too much. They're too big. They're too whatever. We can't trust ourselves to pick out the clothes that are best for us. We can't pick out the hairstyles that are best for us because this is how we're supposed to look. This is what our bodies are supposed to look like. This is what we're supposed to do and be to be a good, worthy mom, partner, individual, a woman in this world. And I call bullshit on it all. What is in you is divinely given. It is the key to knowing and trusting yourself. It is the strength that you have to know what is good and what is not good. It will give you all of the information you need to lead you towards a life that is free and safe and just feels like peace and calm. Even when things are big and heavy and hard, you get to have this peace and calm in your life. And I see this time and time again, and we hear this story if you're in the entrepreneur world at all, and as moms and stepmoms, we hear the story over and over again of how we give and give and give and give and give. And then we hit this point where we are just like blow up, where we completely cave in and we can't function anymore. And we're like, I am done. I did all of the things and I'm so unhappy and I'm so unfulfilled. And I'm so tired of the story because it doesn't have to be that way. You get to trust what is best for you along the way. And when we do that in day-to-day moments, in everyday life, it leads us towards a life that feels so good and feels doable and feels exciting and feels like peace and calm because we know what is next for us. Right now, I am getting tests done for a heart issue that I have. And I had this problem when I was a kid. They fixed it and they told me I'd never have to think about it again. But in like the last couple months, I felt something is off. I'm like, it feels like it's going back to that same thing it did when I was a kid. And so I went into my doctor, I got a heart monitor on, and I'm leaning into that. But it's like, I am not freaking out about the possibilities of what might be going on. Because, first of all, I'm taking action because I trust myself. I'm not poo-pooing it and like, oh, it's only happening occasionally. It's not that big of a deal. I shouldn't make such a fuss. I shouldn't spend the money to get it checked out. We don't have health insurance, but that's a topic for another day that people freak out about. I'm going to get the help and support that I need. And I got the heart monitor, and I am going to get that information because that is what gives me peace. But it also is what allows me to not freak out along the way. I'm scheduling appointments in a timely manner that feels good for me. I'm scheduling appointments in a way that feels good for us financially. But like, this is the thing, is when you start acting for yourself, the loop spiral, the doom spiral doesn't happen as often or as strong. And you know how to get yourself out of it faster when it does. I get to have peace while navigating big things. And some days it is overwhelming. I don't want to get out of bed, but I get to trust myself and give myself that safety to stay in bed on those days. I'm not going to beat myself up for it. I'm going to be like, yeah, this is a big deal. You get to take the rest you need. But along the way, like, it doesn't feel heavy. And it doesn't have to feel heavy for you. You don't have to keep living in this hamster wheel of everything feeling like too much and you can't do it. But it all comes back to rebuilding trust with yourself. Again, you don't have to trust those other people around you. You have to trust yourself. And thinking about this from like a medical standpoint right now, I am going to go to doctors that I trust. If I go to a doctor and they leave me thinking like, I don't know if they really heard what I was saying, I feel like they aren't listening to me, they're not giving me the information I was looking for, I feel like something's off. I'm not going to wait for proof that they jacked up my medical needs or that they're not listening to me, or I get to a point where it's so bad off that now my body is screaming and I am literally screaming at medical professionals. I'm going to trust in that moment that this person isn't hearing me. It doesn't feel right. I know they're the professional, but something still feels off here. I need to find somebody who can give me more information. I'm going to trust that. I'm going to find somebody because ultimately that saves me time, energy, money in the long run. And that is like that in every aspect of your life, in everything that you do. When you find the help and the resources that work for you and that resonate for you, then you get momentum. Instead of like letting all of these voices in that make you doubt yourself and what it is you need. Stop doing that. there is something divinely and beautifully given to you and naturally given to you by whatever source you were created from, whatever you believe in. I happen to believe in God and believe that they created me in a way that I have the information I need inside of me. Like, yes, we're taking in information from other sources and I don't know everything, but I do trust that I know what is best for me. And that whatever step I take is going to give me the information I need to keep moving forward. And I can trust myself so deeply that I know whether to trust that doctor, that I know whether or not to trust my partner, that I know whether or not to trust church leaders or counselors or whoever is in my life. Another example of this that I just thought of, when Matt and I were first married, like I said, we were a mess. And I was like, I'm going to get myself in counseling. Matt didn't want to go to counseling. He'd had a bad experience. Totally, whatever, that's fine. I can only take care of me. So I decided to get myself into a counselor, and I go into one of our church counselors and I sit down and talk to this man, and he did not hear a word I was saying. He kept telling me that basically that I was an irrational woman in like nice words, but that is the messaging that, oh, this is just normal marriage stuff. I'm like, I am 3 months into my marriage and my husband will hardly talk to me. He won't look at me. He doesn't touch me. We dated for 8 weeks. We didn't have sex until we were married. Like, we get to still be in the honeymoon phase. We want to be chasing each other. Like, I want this man. Like, he is completely shut off. Even 20 years into marriage, I don't want this relationship. And yet he's telling me this is just how it goes. This is just how marriage is. You need to stop expecting so much of him. You need to X, Y, and Z. I was furious. I left his office and started to leave, and just like as I'm pulling out of the parking lot, burst into tears and had to pull into the parking lot across the street and just let myself sob. Then I let it out, and then I called my mom and told her what bull crap it was. And yeah, am I crazy? Like asking her those things, she's like, no, this is real. But that's all the information you need is within you, is when you have that big emotion, it isn't because you're too emotional. It isn't because you're just a ridiculous woman or whatever bullshit we're told. It's because your intuition is telling you that what that person just told you, even though they are an authority figure, even though they have this training in being a counselor, is bullshit. And it isn't what's best for you. I want you to hear that. When you get information from an authority figure or from a teacher or from a coach or from whoever, a medical advisor, all of these people, and it doesn't feel right to you, that is what we are going to trust. And that is what is going to help us make our next best decision. That is what is going to propel us forward towards the next thing. If you are listening to this and you are like, I want to have this deep trust in me, I want to leave behind this stupid conditioning that has been put on us as women so that I can have this deep trust in my life and change my life, please go pick up my book. ShoveYourShoulds.com/free book is where you can go to get it. It's called Shove Your Shoulds. And it is going to give you the information you need to start on this journey, to start developing and building this deep trust with yourself. And it may have you, lead you to break up with a current partner or spouse. It may lead you towards not trusting a medical professional that you are currently getting advice from. It might upheave your business and lead you to something different. Or you might end up staying and doing it differently. You might approach your relationship in a better, different way that heals your relationship and creates safety for you to stay and for your partner to stay. And it blossoms into something so beautiful. I have done this both ways in marriages. And actually, I've stayed because that was the best thing for me in my second marriage. And I left in my first marriage, not just because my husband was gay, but because it was no longer the thing that was best for me. And that's okay. People have a hard time saying that. We want to blame the other person for why we left. But ultimately, me leaving Steve was what was best for me and what was best for him. But sometimes when we do this work, it heals what isn't working in our lives, or it creates a cut. And on the other side of that cut and the movement forward, we get to have what it was we were chasing in the relationship, in the business, in the medical diagnosis, in whatever it is you are searching for right now, where you need the understanding. And also, if you were like, Jessica, I need more of this now. I want to understand how to work with you. I'll put a link in the show notes as well, or I'm used to podcasting, the caption below, whatever you want to call it, that has a link to get a free call with me. But you can get a free book, you can get a free call, and start there. When you get the free book, you do pay shipping and handling. Just want to make that very clear. But otherwise, it is free. You get to have this, and I'm giving you the tools to start. This deep trust in yourself is everything you need. You don't need to trust another living soul. And people, you might hear that and you're like, that feels so horrible. But when you have deep trust in yourself, then you see how naturally it comes to trust the people you are meant to trust, who are meant to be in your life, and how you release everything else. You don't need a huge group of people that you trust. You need a tight group that feels good and safe and connected for you. So I encourage you to go check out those resources if they appeal to you. Go check out this next video that is going to be talking about simple steps you can start taking towards trusting yourself again. Is really going to help you along the way. I hope you will check that out. And I hope that you'll get on a call with me. I would love to talk to you more about how you can trust yourself and how that deep trust is going to keep moving your life forward. Take care, my friend, and go check out this video, and I'll see you next time.